Hi, my name is Alicia Beckstead. And in the case of Mira, she, with her family support, she actually grew up with significant dysfunction between her father's chronic alcoholism when he was home, and then him just being gone often because of his job as a truck driver. Um, that caused just a lot of dysfunction in her home, and then he was also emotionally abusive when he was sober. So that is going to hinder Mira's recovery because of the underlying messages that she has about herself and her lack of self worth because of her father. Her mother also worked multiple jobs, and so that probably meant that she wasn't home very often, wasn't very physically present, but then she was not emotionally available to Mira as well. And she also is a Pentecostal Christian, which is a pretty strict high demand religion, which could be hindering Mary's recovery because of underlying guilt or shame that she may be feeling because of that. Also, the relationship with her siblings um, is strained, which I imagine is because of the shared trauma and the things that happened in their home. But I think that that could honestly be some of the strongest family support that Mira could have if she could work on those strained relationships, just because of that unique understanding that they would have of each other and of their childhood and how that might affect them. Her social network, including her friends and her colleagues, I think are incredibly important to her recovery because those are going to be the people that are most likely to offer support without needing to do a bunch of repair first. So, her coworkers, especially with their encouragement of her receiving her GED, I think is a great tool that she should be utilizing. And I know that she is feeling stressed about studying for her GED, but if she would include her coworkers in those study sessions, possibly that could actually grow their relationship and make that to be something stronger. And then her friends, I think I would encourage her to show up with her friends and to go to the lunch dates, even if they are virtual, just because that is going to be our relationship also. And we know that having strong relationships can actually help us regulate our nervous systems. So I think those are actually going to be very key to her recovery process once we work past some of those the things that may be hindering her from um, pursuing those relationships more deeply. Her community, I think, could be kind of difficult just because she does live in a rural area. So I think the access to the community could to potentially be difficult. However, I do think that this would be a great time to try and utilize virtual community groups and virtual meetings because geography wouldn't be such a strong point of this community group. So I do think that could be a great solution to helping her form and keep those meaningful relationships. I also think that finding a church for her, if there is one in her community that she feels that she could identify with, I think that could help her develop more spiritually, which can help her learn to trust herself more and maybe undo some of the harm that her mother's strict religion could have caused. Um, and also, that is actually a way that people are showing up on a regular basis for each other in a physical way. Just even going and seeing each other and singing hymns or things like that. So I think if she could find a non denominational church that she feels that she could at least find some community with if she doesn't necessarily identify spiritually, or if she does identify spiritually and be able to grow that with her as well. Also, the gym that she has joined, I think, can also be incredibly helpful to her and her sense of community because these are people that are also wanting to work out, and if they offer classes, I think that would be a great opportunity for her to be able to find some friends and have that community by showing up to those classes, um, and encourage some new relationships. I think as her social worker, I would really encourage her to work on some coping skills around her sense of worth and her ability to recognize her worth that she, like her inherent worth that she has outside of the degree that she does or does not have. So the fact that she doesn't have a high school diploma or that her friends have bachelor's degree and are progressing in their fields, I think that might be contributing a little bit to her self-worth. So if we could focus on her just in having inherent worth and that her status and position in life doesn't change that. And I think that would be incredibly helpful. I think also she has said that she struggles to form meaningful relationships, and I think we need to focus on put some focus on meaningful relationships she already has. I think that she's maybe diminishing the relationships that she has with her coworkers, and I think the fact that they are encouraging her and that they want to have lunch with her and they want to socialize with her, I think that we need to recognize that that is a love and a kindness being shown to her, and that these are people that are rooting for her in her life and can be incredibly helpful to her sense of self worth and her sense of community. I also think that her friends, they are trying to connect, even though there are these barriers of them working from home all of a sudden, that they are still trying to do these virtual groups. And I would encourage Mira to attend those when she can. And just recognize that she has meaningful relationships, that these are people that she sees daily, and that makes them meaningful, and that she can actually um, grow and have those deeper. And I think if she can feel rooted and strong in her connection with her friends and with her coworkers, that may actually help empower her to repair and rebuild the relationships with her siblings as well, which again I do think could be incredibly helpful to her processing some of her childhood stuff as well. Um, the community stakeholders, as a social worker, if I'm working in the community, I would consider myself a community stakeholder. And so I think that my clinic or me myself working in community outreach, I think would be incredibly helpful in encouraging human flourishing. And I think that partnering with local schools to encourage kids to stay in school and to maybe share some studies or some statistics of people who do drop out, and maybe to help prevent that just in the community as a whole, I think could be helpful. I think it would also be really helpful to partner with the local health clinic, um, and to possibly offer some mental health screenings. I think if we could offer those screenings for free, then that barrier of having to pay for the initial visit could be removed, and then they could know if they need further help. I think also we could work with the billing department at the local health clinic too. Oftentimes, especially in rural communities, in my experience, do offer like sliding pay scales or things like that, just some financial help that the hospital themselves can help with as well. And then I think also partnering with the local welfare clinic to provide maybe some time when people can come in and get help applying for benefits. I think a lot of people probably do qualify, but that application process is incredibly daunting. They're asking for a lot. It can be confusing, and especially if someone's first language isn't English, it can be difficult to interpret what exactly those words mean. So if we could possibly offer a translator or just someone to sit by them and walk them through these steps, I think we could offer the help in getting people who do qualify approved for those as well, so that they can continue to get the help that they need within their community.